There we go. Okay, so the goal of today's stream is just to test a few things. So I've got the servo motor hooked up here on the HTTP stream. So I'm just going to run the code here to test that. Let's start the PyGPIO daemon, or PyGPIO daemon, I guess. And then let's rerun that. There we go. Okay, so while that's running, that will test the servo motor. I'm seeing it's still got a little bit of jitter, but I think I don't know. I might be able to improve on that with I'm thinking a 3D printed mount of some kind. So let's take some measurements with the calipers. Okay, so that's about 12.1 millimeters. By 22.5 millimeters. Yeah, 22.5. And the full width is about 32 point. Hang on, let's try lining that up better. It's really hard to do at this angle. Okay. Let's try doing it this way. Okay, so that's 32.0. Oh, it's giving me a warning about the resolution. Is the stream working? Yes, I think it is still streaming, but it doesn't like the resolution. Okay, so I'm gonna write this down. 32.0. And the other one was 22.5. Maybe 22.6 with tolerance. Okay. And then just to double check, the other dimension was 12.0. Yes. Okay, and can I get the side here? What, 15.5, 15.6 millimeters? Yeah, it's probably around there. Okay. Also, I am liking the angle of the camera. I think there's a little bit of adjustment. Yeah, that should be Major improvement when I upgrade that to the camera 3. I think that's pretty much it right now. I just wanted to test the servo, and I've got it running mostly without any jitter, but I think I can improve on that. And I'll test it later with a slightly better version of the camera mount. It'll get the camera just a little bit further away and also a higher quality camera. And soon I'll also be adding a headlight or some kind of, I guess, spotlight powered by the Raspberry Pi that will illuminate the breadboard. Oh, and an upgrade to the Raspberry Pi. I've got 8 gig Pi 4B, and I think it was a 64 gig card. So I'll be upgrading the Raspberry Pi that I'm using for my demos, but I'll still be using the Pi 4B, at least for now, and then I might do a separate set of demos with a Raspberry Pi 5B as well. I think that's about it. That's just a rough idea of what's coming up here, and yeah, I think I'm going to turn off the stream now. Actually, I take that back because I wanted to find out what was going on with this servo motor, because I had it working earlier. So let's zoom this in so I can actually see what I'm doing. Why isn't that terminating? Terminate. See, my keyboard is on. I can move the mouse. Wasn't getting the Control C. It is shaking a lot though, and it wasn't doing that earlier. Let's take a look at the script. Should actually be working. Let's try it again. This is the software PWM version, but that had even worse jitter. Maybe I'll try rebooting it, but I think I might have already done so. I don't know. Let's see. That's taking a minute to come up. be safe. Okay. Give it about 10 seconds. Now let's give it another try. There we go. That's looking better. And do I get a desktop? Should be coming up any second now. There we go. Control-Alt-T. Okay. And /stream. Oops. Can't quite read that. Here, I'm going to zoom this in so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, now when I run that, it should bring the circuit board back online, or the camera view of the circuit board back online. Okay, there we go. Awesome. Okay. And actually Control-Alt-T. Let's just do it that way. Is it? Oh, there we go. Okay, and let's full screen that so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Zoom that in too. Okay. So first let's try that out on pin 11, which is, I think it's the 6th. Yeah, 1 through 5, 7, 9, 11. Okay, so if we just change this wire over here. Six. Yes. You should be able to use software PWM. Yeah, and that one's already set up to use it. So if I just run it. Okay, so for comparison, this is how it performs with software PWM. Software pulse width modulation. So it's always expected to be a little bit jittery when it's being pulsed in software, but for some intents and purposes it might be sufficient. Not really for driving a servo. But if I stop that. Okay, now let's switch it over to, I think it was pin 32. Cat servo 2.pi. And this one is using pin 12, but it's Broadcom pin 12. Which I think is, I want to say 32 on the board. But I know for sure that it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 from the right in the even row. There we go. There we go. The HDMI cable is just a little bit sensitive. Okay, so when I run servo 2, also it would help if I started the Pi GPIO daemon. Okay, that's still a little bit shakier than it was before I started recording. Oh, hang on. No, that's still really shaky. I wonder if maybe adding a capacitor would help. I don't have any on hand right now, but maybe I'll find one for later and try it again. Because it is relatively stable. But also, I don't think a 3D printed mount is going to help with this. I think this is something possibly... Yeah, I feel like that's something to do with the instability of the pulses that it's seeing. So I'm going to try and add maybe some 10 nanofarad capacitors. I think I've got some around here somewhere, so I'll find some for later, and we'll try this again. But I did find that one of the big improvements was restricting it to 50 hertz, and then restricting the duty cycle so that it's between, I want to say 3% and 12%, was it? Or, yeah, 3% and 12%. And that seems to work pretty well for rotating it between 0 and 180%. Or 0 and 180 degrees, sorry. So, let's see. Oh, the other thing I might do later on is add a network switch so that it's actually using Ethernet instead of wireless. That might help with the camera feed a little bit. And some illumination and a better camera. So we'll see how it looks now and how it looks later on, and it should be better. Also with a fancier Raspberry Pi. And I might also mount the breadboard to the Raspberry Pi instead of having them separate. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what I can do. Yeah, that focus, that camera focus leaves a lot to be desired. Oh, and I'm bumping the keyboard there. Okay, well, let's halt the Raspberry Pi and end the stream, and I'll give this a try later on.